Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Oh my god, I'm about to say it's been a while, but I realize I almost always say it's been a while. I need to just stop going away and coming back. You guys deserve better. But anyway, it's been a while. Like, a lot has been happening in the world and in my home country, Nigeria. So there's been a series of protests and SARS. You guys may have heard about it. But yeah, like, there are tons of materials. So if you are interested, you can learn more about it. The youth have basically been protesting against police brutality, and then it was met with even more police brutality. Like, I just needed to take a break. Like, yeah, it was really overwhelming, and but I'm back now. My creative juices are flowing, and I felt like the first step to coming back was, I needed to finish this kimono wrap dress that I started like 2 weeks ago, or almost like more than 2 weeks ago, and I had finished it. I actually filmed the process. Okay, yeah, that's why we're here. But I had finished it, and all that was left was for me to put the buttonhole, and my buttonhole function wasn't working. So you guys will see that at the end of the video that I couldn't finish it on the day I filmed because the buttonhole function wasn't working, and I took my sewing machine to the repair shop, and they said, oh, it's an electrical board problem, the electrical board for the buttonhole or something, and it would be too expensive to replace, so they wouldn't advise me to even spend money on that. So I need to get a new sewing machine at some point, but I was able to just do the buttonhole manually. Yeah, I just had to figure it out. And if you guys would like to see a video, let me know and I'll show you. So as long as you have a zigzag function on your machine and you can lengthen and shorten the stitch length, basically you can adjust the stitch length, then you're good to go. And I think you guys should watch this video to the end, because I'm going to be basically telling you some of the things I learned along the way and how to avoid those mistakes. Because yes, there is something I wish I had done better, but I will tell you guys at the very end of the video. So let's get started. So for this project, I have my pattern master and my ruler, my fabric scissors, my paper scissors, my pattern paper, my sellotape, my pins, my measuring tape, my buttons. I haven't decided on which one to use yet, so I have two options, and my marker and fabric chalk. And I'm using this plain and patterned grain fabric for the kimono. So let's get started. First, I'm drawing a straight line which will act as my border line, and I'm going ahead to take my half of my shoulder measurement plus my sleeve length. So basically, take half of your shoulder measurement, add your sleeve length, and mark out the point. And next, I'm going ahead to mark out my neck point. So for me, that's 3 inches by 1 inch, my neck measurement rather. And I'm also going ahead to mark out 1 inch down there, and I will connect this point. And next, I'm going ahead to draw my neckline. So now I'm taking my vertical measurement, my bust point, my hip, my waist point, my hip point, and my desired length. And I'm just going ahead to roll out those points. Now I'm taking my horizontal measurement, so my bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch, my hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch, and I replicated what I have on my hip at the bottom because I want a straight fit. Now for my waist measurement, I just subtracted 1 from what I had on my bust. So if you want a tighter fit, or if you're going to have darts, you can, make it tighter. Now I'm going ahead to replicate what I have on the top on my bust measurement. So now I'm just extending that line, the bust line, all the way there, because that will serve as my sleeve, and I'm connecting the 2 points together. Next, I'm going ahead to just connect the bust to the waist and the waist to the hip, and just connect the hip to the bottom with a straight line. Now I'm just going ahead to label it. That's the back. I'm going to cut it on fold, and that's the kimono wrap dress. I put an annotation there that I don't have allowance on this yet. So now I'm going ahead to cut out my pattern, my back pattern. Now it's time to cut the front. So for the front, for the wrap effect, I need to make sure I have enough space in front. So yes, make sure you have enough space in front for the wrap extension. And now I'm just going ahead to measure 4 inches in front of my waistline, and the same thing at the bottom, and I'm connecting the 2 points together. So now for the neckline, I went ahead and marked the edge of the neck point, and I'm just going in with broken lines to get the neck the shape that I want before I go in with a more permanent line. So that's the front neckline there. Now I'm just going in to cut it out, but I eventually made some corrections. So at this point I decided that the front was too extended because I'm still going to have a lapel there, so I felt 4 inch was too much, so I reduced it by 1.5 inches. So if you're doing this, just extend it by 2.5 inch, and I'm just going ahead to redraw that neckline. So if you're not having a lapel, I think 4 inches is okay, but because of the lapel, I felt like 4 inch was a little too much, so I reduced it by 1.5 inch. So that ended up being just 2.5 inch extension in front. So now I'm just going ahead to make sure, to finish cutting the shoulder and everything. And I'm going ahead to label the front of the wrap dress. So next I went ahead and placed it on the fabric, and I'm just adding allowance where I want it, and I'm going in to just cut it out. So I did not add allowance everywhere because I felt the 1 inch was enough to serve as both allowance and ease. So I just added allowance around the sleeves because I wanted the sleeves to be a bit bigger and the bottom to add to the length. And that's it. So now it's time to sew. Simply place right sides together as usual, and I'm just going in to pin everything down so it can be easy to sew once I take it to my sewing machine. So yeah, I'm just sewing it, the usual, using my straight stitch. I sewed the shoulder point and then the side seams. So that's it. Even at this point it looked really good, but yeah, I'm going ahead to just measure what I have to determine the length of the lapel. And now for the lapel, I made it 6 inch by the length that I had. So I had to cut 2 pieces because it was quite long, and then I joined the 2 pieces together later on. And now for the sleeve, because I wanted to have like a cuff on the sleeve, I cut 5 inch by 15 inches. This was how loose I wanted the cuff to be, and I cut 2 pieces. Next I went ahead and fused interfacing on these pieces, and I'm just going ahead to join the 2 pieces to form the long lapel. And now to join it together, I needed to determine the midpoint of my dress, and now I'm just going ahead to pin it down, pin from the middle all the way down on both sides. And this is the same way I'm going to sew it. I'm going to sew from the middle all the way down. So I'll sew from the middle to one end of one side and come back to the middle and sew to the end of the other side. So yeah, I'm going ahead to sew just like I explained, from the middle to the end, and then go back to the middle and sew to the end of the other side. Now I'm just going in to just notch that area so it can lay properly and nicely. And now for the sleeve, I went ahead and measured what I had. So what I had was about 19 inches, and I want it to be about 14.5 inch so it can fit into the cuff nicely. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew on a basting stitch on like one part of the sleeve, just a little, to just gather that area. So I'm not gathering the entire sleeve because I only have like 4-inch excess, so I'm only going to gather like the one end basically, and make sure it fits into the sleeve. And now I'm going ahead to sew the sleeve, to sew the cuff rather, so that I can attach it to the sleeves. So here my cuff is done. I'm just going to pin it down to the sleeve so it can be easy to attach once I take to my sewing machine. So yeah, time to sew. So I went ahead and just finished the inner bit of the neckline with a decorative stitch. So we're almost done, but I can't continue because my sewing machine just wouldn't cooperate. I've actually been battling with it for like the past 2 hours, and I tend to fixate on problems, but I decided that nah, I can't do this anymore. Hold on guys. So basically the buttonhole stitch wouldn't just work, so I decided to go for these buttons, and I was going to already mark where I wanted the buttonhole, and I was just going to come show you guys and say, oh, next go ahead, mark where you want your buttonhole, make your buttonhole and sew on your buttons. But let me show you guys what you guys will be able to hear. So all other stitches work fine. I've removed the buttonhole because I just got tired of trying, but the buttonhole function just makes this beeping sound. Yeah, that's it. So I've reached out to Singer on Instagram, and hopefully they get back to me. But I just serviced this sewing machine like recently, and it has a 3-month warranty cover. So I will call the company that serviced it tomorrow and just find out what they can do about that. But in the meantime, that's the good thing about this. You can wear it with or without the button on, and I will just have to come up with more creative ways to do the buttonhole. I've been researching. Yes, I think I may just do that. But basically, I just want to finish this dress today, and so I went ahead and finished the inner part with some decorative stitches. So this looks nice. You can also just top stitch this, but I don't think that's necessary, so I'm going to leave it like this. And now the last bit is just to hem it, so I'll go ahead and trim this off. Just make sure it is straight. Yep, good. Trim off the other bit as well. And now I'll go on fold twice. Yep. So I'll iron it and then come back and sew it. So just fold it twice using your allowance that you left. So I'll fold it twice, but I'll iron it first and I'll go ahead and sew it. And yes, if you're lucky or if your sewing machine is cooperating, go ahead and fix in your buttonhole and your buttons. Otherwise, I don't know, come up with a creative way to do that. Or I may just decide to use a press-on button if this doesn't work, just like those press-ons. So just like that. Yeah, and that's it guys, that's it for this tutorial. As soon as I sew on this, that's it for the tutorial. And yeah, once I'm done finishing the hem, once I'm done hemming it, that's it, and our dress is ready. Easy, right? This is the kimono. So it's like a kimono and a wrap dress. It can be worn both ways. So okay, yep, you button this on the inside like this. So I place the button on the inside here. So you just button it. Can you guys see? And then you button it over here, and it's good to go. So I also put an extra button here just so this doesn't look, yeah, I just wanted it to look symmetrical, a button here, a button here. So this is it. You can wear it as a dress, you can wear it as a kimono by just leaving it opened. So yeah, one of the things I wished I had done was I would have moved the buttonhole. I hope you guys can see. So I should have moved the buttonhole a bit closer to the edge. I put it in the middle, but I don't think I should have done that, and I'm going to tell you guys why just now. So if you guys can see, this place is sort of like coming up, and I think if the buttonhole had been a bit like towards the end, it would have laid like flatter and nicer. So can you see? Assuming this was this short and the buttonhole was here, it just lays nice and flat. So I think you guys should make your buttonhole, don't put it in the middle, make it closer to the edge here so it can lay nice and flat when you button it. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you're here to subscribe, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and see you in the next video. Mwah. Love you guys. Bye.